the only way you're ever going to get legitimately clear on what you want is if you step into stillness, if you step into silence, if you step into quietude, if you step into solitude. And let me get this straight, there's a huge difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a coping mechanism that you likely subconsciously use to isolate yourself from the world, from other people, from the stress in your life, and that's okay. It's okay to do that because life can feel overwhelming and life can feel stressful. But the differentiator between that loneliness and the solitude is that the solitude is intentional. It's saying, wow, we live in this modern day world where we have toxic food, we have toxic news, we have toxic cleaning products, we have toxic cookware, we have toxic home environments, stressful relationships, can't keep up with technology, trying to fix your health, trying to take all these supplements, trying to eat as healthy as you can, trying to do all these hit workouts. Like your body is so freaking overwhelmed, it doesn't even know what to do. And oftentimes in that case, ironically, it actually does know what to do, which is to shut down. And that's how it works, right? We have this fight, flight, or freeze. And often a lot of us go into freeze mode because we're just so overburdened and overstimulated and overwhelmed. So we don't know what to do. But the truth is, if you choose to instead, you know, totally just remove yourself from the world because you can't take it, which is understandable because it can be very overwhelming. But instead, you go into, a situation where you're like, hey, I need to book an Airbnb for a weekend and just get into some nature. I need to go like on a farm. I need to go to the beach and take a day off of work because I'm so freaking burnt out. Like, give yourself permission to do that with the intention of like, I'm looking for clarity. Because I'll tell you right now, I was going through an identity shift for a while. I started my journey off as a nutrition coach, which is still a massive part of my coaching because I talk a lot about burnout and how my goal is to help former athletes, people who grew up as athletes, entrepreneurs, high achievers, and high performers overcome burnout by regulating their nervous system so they can finally feel like themselves again, without having to take a ton of supplements or work with a bunch of different naturopaths, because that's exactly what I did, and none of that stuff really moved the needle forward. Even though I was eating healthy and working out a lot and sleeping well, I still felt like crap. That's because I had so much stuck emotion. I had trauma within the body. I didn't know how to, express myself or get as vulnerable as I could have. I was, lonely because I'm an entrepreneur and trying to figure out everything on my own. But if you're a creative and you're like a former athlete and you want more for yourself in life and you have a lot of ambition, then like you think about Einstein, you think about Steve Jobs, you think about Jeff Bezos, you think about Tony Robbins, you think about LeBron James. Like, these people purposely sit with the breath, they sit with themselves, they crafted a meditation practice because that is the only place that you will ever get the answers you're looking for. Because if the body is constantly in this survival mode, trying to just like figure out how is it going to handle this next conversation, or how is it going to handle this toxic food that's about to enter your body, um, then you're not going to be able to think straight. And so recently I did a 72-hour fast because I've been going through that identity shift of a nutrition coach to an even more holistic nervous system regulation and burnout recovery coach, because I went through such deep, dark pain for 16 months of depression and anxiety and ADHD, and like literally felt like I was paralyzed. I couldn't do what I needed to do. I went from the guy that was waking up at 5:30 in the morning to snoozing until 8, sometimes even 9 a.m. because I could barely get out of bed. And so it was this chronic fatigue, and I would get these afternoon crashes at like 2 p.m., sometimes as early as like literally 11 a.m. And I was doing all the right things, but I didn't realize how much overstimulation and stress and cortisol was in my life. So anyway, I never want anyone to feel that pain. And so once I overcame that burnout and the chronic fatigue and the Epstein-Barr virus, which, creates that chronic fatigue and gut health issues and afternoon crashes and just feeling like you're so overwhelmed and you can't do anything. Um, and then I came through that burnout, right, through doing energy healing and Reiki, and most importantly, getting vulnerable and expressing my emotions to other people, getting into a safe space of fellow entrepreneurs and people that were trying to do similar things to me, whether it's healing your health or trying to build a business. Getting in a safe space of people who are going the same direction as you is the most underrated thing of all time. There were multiple Zoom calls in this mentorship program. I was just like crying in front of 15 people, and the amount of healing that did to my body was more than you'll ever know. And people don't see that as a factor. Like, oh, I just need to take this brain focus supplement, or I need to work with this naturopath. I was working with 3 different naturopaths at the same time. I was taking like 10 different supplements, probably more, trying to find like the one perfect focus supplement, because I would sit down on my laptop and sit there with my cold brew thinking I was going to focus more, and it caused more anxiety, and I shut my laptop and I didn't know what to do, and then I felt guilty for not working, and just like a crazy toxic cycle. And so I was just realizing that after going through that journey, like I was in chronic survival mode. I said I was in survival mode like through 6 years of my corporate job, but the truth is that I was surviving my whole life for 29 years. And there's a quote that says, "We all have 2 lives. And the second one begins when you realize you only have one." And when you get yourself to such a dark place where it feels like it'd just be easier not to be here, and then you come through that on the other side, for me, it really deepened my relationship with God. I mean, I was always a Catholic growing up, but I was kind of forced to go to church, and I always believed in God, but it was kind of just something I said. It wasn't that like what I didn't. It was just kind of like, yeah, like I'm a Catholic and I believe in God. I believe there's something greater out there for us, and then us. But then I went through that journey and I came out to the other side. I was just like, how did I ever do that? It was because God was holding me in the palm of his hands. And it was because I got into Reiki and energy healing, and I healed my stuck emotions and stored traumas and healed my inner child, and yeah, got more close connection with the breath, and just kind of like connecting everything back together. Like, you have to feel your emotions. You have to learn how to cultivate a relationship with sitting in stillness and feeling your emotions. And when I was going through this identity shift, because again, I don't want people to experience that pain that I went through that burnout, but I also want to teach people that it's possible to get through it, because I gained like 15 pounds. I was insanely stressed. I was stress eating. I was gaining weight and felt crappy about myself, was speaking negativity into my bodies. I was suppressing my emotions. I was having crashes at like 11 a.m. I was lonely and depressed, and I was just miserable. And like, burnout is such a catch-all word, but to me, it was one of the darkest places of my entire life, and I never thought I'd get through it. And so it can be, again, this catch-all term, but I need you to know that like ADHD and procrastination and anxiety and depression and feeling paralyzed, like those labels and terms are great. Like when I had Epstein-Barr, it was nice to know that I wasn't crazy with all these symptoms I was feeling, but it's also a limiting belief. Like if you keep saying that you have ADHD or you have anxiety, it's not that it's not real, it's validated. And it also just creates this perpetuation of a story that literally keeps you in that exact quote diagnosis or that exact feeling. And that's why I went to therapy, which was the first step. But after like 4 weeks, I was like, okay, this is not helpful. I'm just repeating the same story over and over, and was confirming my victimhood. And I was addicted to suffering. I didn't realize that at the time. But you can literally be addicted to your own hormones, and the nervous system literally is just addicted to what's familiar, even if it's not serving us, right? Why do people who have lung cancer still smoke cigarettes? Why do people who have cancer still drink alcohol? Why do people who are 350 pounds still eat processed junk food and drink soda? It's because the nervous system is trying to escape pain. That's what we do in life. We either move away from pain or towards pleasure. And so something that can, quote, feel painful to a lot of people is doing a 3-day fast. But when I did that fast, I guess before I get into that, I want to say that I overcame that depression and anxiety and burnout for the 16 months I was going through it, and never thought it was possible, never saw a light at the end of the tunnel. Many days I was just staring at the ceiling, wondering what the heck I'm going to do with my life. Financially struggling, health was struggling, my relationship and my social life was basically non-existent. And this is what we do as entrepreneurs. We get so heads deep down into our work that we forget what we're even freaking doing it all for in the beginning to begin with, and we lose sight of our life, which is really the whole point, is to have fun and be in connection with humans and be in nature and go at the pace of nature. But I basically went from running 0 half marathons my entire life to, again, going through 16 months of depression and anxiety and burnout, and having a chronic illness that is Epstein-Barr, to 8 half marathons in 8 months. My goal was to do 13 and I got to 8. And it's crazy because I just never even was a runner before. I never thought that was possible. And I just started to get into these communities where people were reminding me of my power and my presence and my gifts and my value in the world. And when your ego and your own blinders are on and you're just constantly in your negativity bias, your inner critic is so loud that you can't even see what's actually happening, the value that you're actually bringing to the world. It's like all these people are like, oh, you're doing amazing. You're helping heal all these people. You're doing this nutrition coaching. Like, what do you mean? Like, why are you depressed? It's because my inner critic was so freaking loud that it literally blinded me to the beauty of my life. And so this is why objective perspective. This is the first step to change, is perspective, right? Einstein says you can't create a solution from the same level of consciousness that created it. And Carl Jung says, you know, your habits and your lifestyle create the life and the outcomes and everything that you're experiencing in your life. And if you don't believe that, until you make the unconscious conscious, you will call it fate and it will direct your life. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But the truth is, life isn't happening to you, it's happening from you. Let me say that again. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening from you. Your life is a mirror. And the triggers and the pain and the gifts you have are showing you where in your life you're not free. It's not about that other person. It's not about the thing that they said. It's about how it affects you because of the wounds and the triggers and the healing that you need to do in your body. And so when I was going through this identity shift after I overcame the burnout of 16 months and depression, like started running half marathons, ran 8 months, and then ended up running 13 in 24 months. Doing 25 guest podcast appearances, like just totally, skyrocketing after that burnout, which I never thought was possible. I really wanted to start helping people with burnout because, again, it got me to such a dark place. And so over the past 2 years, I kind of been going through this identity shift of like just a nutrition coach, which I've always been holistic, but I knew that I wanted to go deeper with people because I can tell people what to eat all day long, but until they actually overcome their nervous system and the stimulation and the things that are going on off their plate. That's my primary concept, is like primary food versus the secondary food, which is everything that goes onto your plate. So many people think they have like an eating disorder or they have like whatever it is, orthorexia, but really your nervous system is just overstimulated. That's what it comes down to. And I got to such a dark place that I almost like thought I had an eating disorder when I was like hyper stressed out. I like actually sat down at the dinner table with my sister and my mom. I was like, damn, like I think I have a freaking eating disorder. But it wasn't true. It was just my nervous system was overstimulated. And so all that to say, I ended up doing a 72-hour fast, and I got more clarity than probably I ever had in my entire life. And my intention going into that fast was clarity, initiation, and identity shift. And I got all three of those things because I had known I wanted to switch kind of to that burnout recovery coach for a while, but I didn't have like a marker in the sand to be like, okay, like this was when I was kind of more the nutrition coach, and now I'm this like nervous system burnout recovery coach for former athletes and people like myself that are ambitious and entrepreneurs and high achievers that tend to have that perfectionism and the not enoughness. Right? Aaron Rodgers literally says that all athletes teeter on self-loathing because nothing is ever good enough. All athletes teeter on self-loathing because nothing is ever good enough. You win the Super Bowl, you win the World Series, you hit the sales metric, you sell the amount of houses you wanted to sell, you make the money, you get the house, you have the marriage, and you still feel like crap. It's not to say that those things can't fulfill us, but what really fulfills us is choosing the happiness now, and then those things come. But most people think it's the opposite. Once I get this thing externally outside of me, then I'll be happy. But the reason I fast is because for spiritual reasons. And I got so much clarity within the first like 20 hours. I just literally journaled my guts out. And it was like 15 pages worth of journaling. And then it all came to me. And I started asking things like, okay, how do I add value in the world? What comes easily to me? How can I share that with others? What's the outcome I get my clients? What are their problems? What are their desires? How can I help them? What do I do to help them? And it all just came to me. So then I did that the first day, and then the next 2 days, I literally sat down, grabbed my microphone, and recorded a brand new program called The Aligned Human that helps people overcome their burnout by regulating their nervous system so they can finally feel like themselves again, instead of just trying to take a bunch of supplements and work with a bunch of different naturopaths, right? I was working with 3 naturopaths at the same time and taking like all these like brain supplements and I mean, I learned a lot, which is cool, but it didn't actually help. It didn't never move the needle forward. And so the only way to trust your gut, right? This is my organic cotton merch line. If you are interested, you can go to superfoodsuperhuman.com and yeah, click on the merch tab. But anyway, yeah, I got so much clarity, and it all just came to me. It all came from God. It came from the man above. It came from the universe. It came from source, from spirit. And the only reason that came is because I destimulated. Not only did I get rid of food for 3 days, but I also got rid of my phone for 3 days. And so when we're so overstimulated, we can't think. We're just in survival mode, and we don't have any clarity. So I just encourage you to book an Airbnb for the weekend. Go into nature. Try doing a fast. If you need help with it, let me know. I can provide some resources. Take some time, step away, step into solitude instead of being in loneliness, because there's a big, big difference. And if you're an entrepreneur, and if you're an athlete, or if you're a former athlete, or you're in a high performing job, like, you need time to slow down because you're likely burnt out. But yeah, thanks for tuning into this one. And let me know if you have any questions. Check out the links below, and talk to you soon.